The summer sun filtered through the floor-to-ceiling windows of the beach house, casting golden light across the hardwood floors I'd walked on since childhood. 75 people filled the living room, their laughter and champagne toasts echoing off the vaulted ceilings. My sister Amanda stood in the center of it all, gesturing dramatically at the walls. "I'm redecorating everything," she announced, her voice carrying over the party noise. "This beach house is mine now." I stood near the kitchen doorway, holding a glass of untouched sparkling water, watching the scene unfold with practiced calm. Our brother Jason was already climbing a ladder, hammer in hand, ready to hang Amanda's new family photos over the ones that had hung there for years. "Amanda, this is gorgeous," our cousin Jennifer gushed, running her hand along the custom-built shelving. "When did you buy it?" "Oh, it's been in the works for months," Amanda said, her smile wide and confident. Mom and Dad agreed it made sense. "I've got 3 kids now, and Sarah here," she gestured vaguely in my direction. "Well, she's still renting that tiny apartment downtown. She doesn't need a beach house." Several guests turned to look at me. I took a small sip of water and said nothing. Mom emerged from the deck, her arms full of decorative throw pillows in Amanda's chosen color scheme, navy and coral, replacing the soft blues and whites that had always been there. "These are perfect, honey," she called to Amanda. "Much more modern than Sarah's boring taste, right?" Amanda laughed. "I mean, who keeps the same beach house decor for 5 years? It's like she was stuck in time." Jason descended the ladder and stepped back to admire his work. Amanda's wedding photo now hung where a painting of the lighthouse, the one I'd commissioned from a local artist, had been. "Looks great, sis," he said. "Want me to start on the master bedroom next?" "Absolutely," Amanda said. "I'm thinking of converting that into a nursery suite. The master bedroom has the best ocean view." I glanced at my watch. 2:47 p.m. Michael Roberts, the beach community property manager, would arrive in approximately 13 minutes if traffic cooperated. "Sarah," Dad's voice boomed from across the room. "Come help your sister. Make yourself useful for once." I set down my water glass and walked over. "What do you need?" "These boxes." Dad pointed to a stack of cardboard containers near the fireplace. "Amanda's bringing in her family's belongings. Take your stuff and put it in the garage. You can sort through it later when you find your own place." The boxes contained my books, my photographs, the throw blankets I'd collected from various trips, the small sculptures I'd bought from beach artists over the years. I lifted one box, carried it toward the garage door and set it down gently. "Actually, Dad, I'll leave them here for now," I said quietly. His face reddened. "Excuse me." I said, "I'll leave them here." Amanda appeared at his elbow, her expression shifting from party hostess cheerful to irritated. "Sarah, don't be difficult. This is my house now. I need the space for my family's things." "I understand you need space," I replied, my voice level. "But these can stay where they are." "God, you're so selfish," Jason chimed in, joining the growing circle of family members. "Amanda has 3 kids. You have what? A goldfish. Just take your crap and go." Aunt Linda, Mom's sister, touched my arm with false sympathy. "Honey, maybe it's time to accept that you're not in the same life stage as Amanda. She needs this house for her growing family. You're still finding yourself." I looked at her carefully lined face, at the pity in her eyes that masked satisfaction. Aunt Linda had always preferred Amanda's conventional path: marriage at 23, 3 children by 30, a husband who worked in finance. "I'm not going anywhere," I said simply. The room fell silent. Someone turned down the music. Mom set down her champagne glass hard enough that it clinked against the marble coffee table. "Sarah Elizabeth, I have had enough of your attitude. Your father and I decided this was best for the family. Amanda needs this house. You need to grow up and accept it." "What exactly did you and Dad decide?" I asked. "That the beach house should go to Amanda," Mom said, as if explaining something to a child. "You're barely keeping your head above water with that little bookshop of yours. Amanda and Tom have stability, resources. They can actually maintain a property like this." Tom, Amanda's husband, emerged from the deck where he'd been grilling. "Everything okay in here? Just Sarah being stubborn." Amanda sighed dramatically. "She won't move her stuff out." Tom's expression hardened. He was a tall man, used to getting his way in boardrooms and apparently in family disputes. Sarah, I don't want to be harsh, but we've already hired contractors. They're coming next week to start renovations. Your things need to be gone by then. Renovations? I asked. Knocking out that wall. He pointed to the wall between the living room and the study, opening up the kitchen, redoing all the bathrooms. This place needs serious updating. The study wall he wanted to demolish was load-bearing. I'd had structural engineers assess it when I'd considered the same renovation 3 years ago. They'd advised against it unless I wanted to spend an additional $60,000 on reinforcement. That's a load-bearing wall, I said. Tom waved dismissively. My contractor says it's fine. Your contractor is wrong. And you're an expert now. Jason scoffed. You run a bookshop, Sarah. Tom builds office complexes. I think he knows more about construction than you do. I checked my watch again. 2:54 p.m. 6 minutes. Amanda moved to the mantel, where photos of various family gatherings sat in silver frames. She began removing them, replacing them with pictures of her children. I'm thinking we'll have a big photo wall here, she said to her friend Katie. All professional shots, none of this candid stuff. Really make this space feel like ours. It's going to be beautiful, Katie agreed. You're so lucky to have this place. I know, Amanda beamed. Mom and Dad have been so generous. I mean, Sarah had her chance with it, but she never really made it her own. You know, it still felt like a vacation rental, not a home. I had made it my home, though they'd never noticed. The custom bookshelves built to fit the alcove by the stairs. The weatherproofing I'd had done on the deck after the winter storms 2 years ago. The new water heater. The updated electrical panel. The hurricane-rated windows. $60,000 in improvements they couldn't see because they'd never asked. Uncle Mike, Dad's brother, joined the conversation. Sarah, I gotta say, I'm with your parents on this. You're 32 years old, still unmarried, running a bookshop that can't be making much money. Amanda's got her life together. Sometimes you gotta know when to step aside for people who are actually doing something with their lives. My bookshop does fine, I said quietly. He snorted. Fine doesn't pay for beachfront property, sweetheart. 2:57 p.m. Amanda was now directing 2 of her friends to help rearrange the furniture. The sectional sofa I'd custom ordered to fit the room's dimensions was being pushed against the wrong wall, blocking the natural flow of light from the windows. Sarah, Mom called, get your boxes out of here. Now we're not asking anymore. I walked to the front door and opened it. The ocean breeze swept in, carrying the scent of salt and seaweed. Down the private road that led to this section of the beach community, I could see a white SUV approaching. What are you doing? Amanda demanded. Close the door. You're letting bugs in. Expecting someone, I said. You invited someone to my party. Her voice rose an octave. Without asking me. I didn't need to ask. Jason moved toward me. Sarah, seriously, what's your problem today? Just accept that this isn't your house anymore and move on with your life. The white SUV pulled into the circular driveway. The door opened, and Michael Roberts stepped out, carrying a leather portfolio. He was a trim man in his 50s, with silver hair and the kind of tan that came from actually living at the beach, not visiting it. Who the hell is that? Tom asked. Michael walked up the front steps. I held the door open wider. Miss Williams. He greeted me with a professional nod. I got your message. Thank you for coming, Michael. The party had gone completely silent. 75 people stared at the man in the doorway. What message? Amanda's voice had lost its confident edge. Sarah, what did you do? Michael stepped inside, and I closed the door behind him. He looked around the room, his expression carefully neutral, though I saw his jaw tighten when he noticed Amanda's family photos already on the mantel. I'm Michael Roberts, he said, addressing the room. I'm the property manager for the Coastal Haven Beach community. He turned to me. Miss Williams, I came as soon as I received your call about the trespassing situation. Trespassing? Dad's face went purple. Now wait just a damn minute. I'm sorry, Michael continued, his voice polite but firm. But I need to clarify the situation here. Miss Williams, your sister and her guests have been occupying your private beachfront property without authorization. Is that correct? The room exploded. That's ridiculous. Mom shouted. This is a family house. Sarah has no right. Actually, Michael opened his portfolio, removing several documents. According to the property records for Coastal Haven, Miss Sarah Williams is the sole owner of 1247 Ocean Drive. This property was purchased by her 5 years ago, and has been solely in her name since that time. Amanda's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the hardwood floor. Nobody moved to clean it up. That's impossible, she whispered. Mom and Dad own this house. They've owned it for years. Mom and Dad have never owned this house, I said quietly. Michael pulled out another document. I have the title deed here, if anyone would like to verify. Sarah Williams, purchased June 15, 5 years ago, for $2.1 million. Fully paid, no mortgage. $2.1 million. Jason's voice cracked. You don't have that kind of money. You run a bookshop. I run 12 bookshops, I corrected. Across 3 states. The flagship store is downtown, but there are 11 others. The silence that followed was broken only by the sound of waves outside, and someone's shocked sob. Aunt Linda found her voice first. That's not possible. We would have known. Your parents would have told us. My parents didn't know, I said. Nobody in this family knew, because nobody in this family ever asked. You all assumed I was struggling, because that fit your narrative better than the truth. Tom's face had gone white. The contractors I hired will not be working on this property, I finished. Michael, can you explain the community guidelines about renovations? Michael nodded, pulling out another paper. All renovations in Coastal Haven require approval from the property owner and the community board. I have no record of Miss Williams submitting any renovation plans, which means any work done without her authorization would be in violation of community regulations and would result in fines up to $50,000. Sarah, Dad's voice shook. You can't be serious about this. We're family. We are family. I agreed, which is why I've invited you all here many times over the past 5 years. Every summer, every holiday, and every single time you've made excuses. Too busy. Too far. Amanda's kids had activities. Jason had work. Mom had her book club. You never said you owned it. Mom protested. I shouldn't have had to. I invited you to my home. The fact that you didn't think I could own it says everything about what you think of me. Amanda had started crying. I told everyone. Oh God, I told everyone. This was my house. I posted it on Facebook. I sent out party invitations. Katie, her friend, quietly started gathering her purse. Wait, Amanda grabbed her arm. Don't go. This is just a misunderstanding. But Katie and several other guests were already heading for the door, their expressions ranging from uncomfortable to horrified. You know what the worst part is? I continued, my voice still calm despite the chaos. I would have shared this house with you. All of you. If you'd ever treated me like I mattered, like my life had value even though it didn't look like yours, I would have happily hosted every family gathering here. Sarah, sweetheart, Uncle Mike tried, his earlier condescension replaced with nervous placating. Let's not be hasty. We can work this out. Family is family. You're right. Family is family. Which is why you all felt comfortable telling me I needed to grow up, that I was selfish, that I was barely keeping my head above water. None of you once asked how I was actually doing. You just decided. Michael cleared his throat. Miss Williams, what would you like me to do about the current situation? I looked around the room. At the boxes of my belongings stacked by the garage. At Amanda's photos on the mantle. At the furniture pushed against the wrong wall. At my mother's new throw pillows. At 75 people who had spent the afternoon celebrating my sister's acquisition of my home. I want everyone who doesn't live here to leave. I said. Now, Sarah, please. Amanda begged. I'm so sorry. I thought Mom and Dad said. Mom and Dad said what? Exactly. Did they tell you they owned this house? Or did you, like everyone else, just assume I couldn't possibly have succeeded? We assumed. She stopped, seeming to realize there was no good way to finish that sentence. You assumed I was failing. I finished for her. You needed me to be failing because it made you feel better about your own choices. If I was struggling, then you were winning. If I was barely getting by, then your path was the right one. That's not fair. Jason protested weakly. Fair. You were about to knock down a load-bearing wall in my house without asking me. You packed up my belongings. You threw a party to celebrate taking over my home. And I'm being unfair. Tom had his phone out. I need to call the contractor. Cancel everything. Oh God, the deposit, that's not my problem. I said. Michael stepped forward. I'm going to need to ask everyone to exit the property. Miss Williams has made her wishes clear. But my things. Amanda gestured at the boxes she'd brought in. You can take them with you. The exodus began slowly, then accelerated. Guests I barely knew hurried out, some apologizing, others avoiding eye contact. Cousins I hadn't seen in years suddenly found urgent reasons to leave. Friends of Amanda's gathered her boxes while she stood frozen in the center of the room. Mom approached me, her eyes red. Sarah, I'm sorry. We made a mistake. Can't we talk about this? We can talk, I said. But not today. And not here. You need to leave. This is cruel, she whispered. No, Mom. Cruel is telling your daughter she needs to grow up while she's standing in the house she owns. Cruel is assuming she's failing without ever asking how she's doing. Cruel is giving away her home to someone else because you decided she didn't deserve it. Dad put his hand on Mom's shoulder. Come on, Patricia. Let's go. They walked out slowly, looking back several times as if I might change my mind. Jason lingered by the door. I didn't know, Sarah. I really didn't. You didn't know because you didn't care to know. There's a difference. He flinched and left. Amanda was the last family member remaining. Surrounded by her boxes and bags, her earlier confidence completely shattered. Tom had already gone to get their car. I'm sorry, she said again. I really am. I genuinely thought Mom and Dad owned this place and were giving it to me. I would never have what? Thrown a party celebrating taking over my house. Announced you were redecorating everything. Started packing up my belongings. If I'd known it was yours. That's the problem, Amanda. It shouldn't matter whose it was. You didn't ask. You didn't verify. You just assumed you deserved it more than I did. Tom honked from outside. Amanda gathered the last of her things. At the door she paused. Will you ever forgive us? I don't know, I said honestly. Ask me in a year, after you've all had time to think about why this happened. She left, and suddenly the house was quiet except for me and Michael. He surveyed the damage, the photos still on the mantel, the moved furniture, the boxes, the champagne glass shattered on the floor. Do you need help cleaning up? No, thank you. I'll handle it. He handed me his card. If anyone tries to come back without your permission, call me immediately. I've documented this incident. If they trespass again, we can involve law enforcement. I appreciate that, Michael. He paused at the door. For what it's worth, Miss Williams, I've been managing this community for 15 years. I've never seen someone handle a situation like this with so much composure. Most people would have been screaming. Screaming wouldn't have solved anything. After he left, I stood in the center of my living room and allowed myself to feel everything I'd kept controlled for the past 3 hours. The hurt, the anger, the vindication, the sadness. Then I started cleaning. I removed Amanda's photos from the mantel, carefully placing them in one of her abandoned boxes. I'd ship them to her later. The furniture went back to its proper arrangement. Mom's throw pillows went into a donation bag. I'd never be able to look at them without remembering this day. My phone rang. Jennifer, my cousin. Sarah, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Amanda told everyone your parents were giving her the house. It's fine, Jennifer. It's not fine. The way everyone talked to you. God, I'm mortified. Is there anything I can do? Maybe just, next time someone makes assumptions about my life, ask questions instead of going along with it. I will. I promise. And Sarah, I always knew you were doing well. Your bookshop downtown is amazing. I take my kids there all the time. Thank you. That means a lot. 3 more similar calls came in over the next hour. Cousins, family, friends, even one of Mom's book club members who'd been at the party. All apologizing. All claiming they'd had no idea. All asking how they could make it right. I accepted their apologies, but kept my boundaries firm. Some relationships could be repaired. Others would take time. And some might never recover. As the sun began setting over the ocean, I took my glass of water, now warm, out to the deck. The private beach stretched out before me, empty and peaceful. This was why I'd bought the house. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because I loved it. Because I'd worked hard, invested wisely, and built something I was proud of. My phone buzzed with a text from Amanda. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know something. After we left, I talked to Mom and Dad. Really talked to them. They admitted they never actually asked you about your finances. They just assumed based on, I don't know what, your clothes being casual, you not talking about money. They feel terrible. I didn't respond immediately. Let them feel terrible. They'd earned it. Another text. I feel terrible too. I was so caught up in the idea of this perfect beach house for my family that I never stopped to think about what I was taking from you. I'm sorry. I know it's not enough, but I'm sorry. I typed back, I need time. We all need time. But Amanda, in the future verify ownership before you redecorate someone else's house. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared, then understood. I love you, sis. I love you too. I wrote back. And I meant it. Love didn't erase what had happened, but it also didn't disappear because of one terrible day. A knock at the door surprised me. Through the window, I saw a police car in the driveway. I opened the door to find Officer Martinez, who I recognized from community meetings. Miss Williams, sorry to bother you. We received a call about a domestic disturbance at this address. From whom? He checked his notes. Anonymous. They said family members were being forced out of their home. I explained the situation, showed him the property deed that Michael had left with me, and gave him Michael's contact information to verify. Officer Martinez shook his head. Some people never quit. You have every right to remove unauthorized persons from your property. If anyone shows up again without your permission, call us immediately. This could escalate to criminal trespass. After he left, I stood on the deck and watched the stars emerge. My phone was blowing up with messages. Some supportive, some accusatory, some confused. I turned it off. The house settled around me, creaking slightly in the evening breeze. My house, that I'd worked for, that I'd earned, that I'd loved quietly for 5 years, while my family had ignored it and me. Tomorrow I'd deal with everything else. The family drama. The apologies I'd accept, and the ones I wouldn't. The relationships that could be salvaged, and the ones that were too broken. But tonight, I sat on my deck, in my house, watching waves roll onto my private beach, and let myself feel proud. I'd built something real. Something valuable. Not just the bookstore empire. Not just this house, but a life that had meaning. Even if it didn't look like what my family expected. And I'd defended it. Not with screaming or drama, but with calm, clear boundaries and the truth. The champagne bottles had stopped popping, and I was exactly where I belonged.